Lucas, you walked into this interview, you've said you're so tired. That was a shift, but so deserved for West Ham.
Yeah, play there against Newcastle is so hard. You do very well. You need to keep in this way.
What was the difference tonight in this team? We saw a lot of confidence amongst the players, confidence that perhaps we haven't seen this season.
So we work a lot in the week, and you need to play again like a team. And now today you did this. And for me, I think it's the best thing you can do.
We were talking to the captain, Jared Bowen, before the game. He was talking about Julian Lopetegui being a driving force, new ideas with the ball. There was a real togetherness, willingness amongst the players to do well for him.
Yeah, of course, it's a new idea. You try to put in the pitch all the thing, and the coach asked it to us. And today I think you did it.
And the players you would see on that performance supporting him as well.
Yeah, I need to keep in this way. Of course, we need to keep confidence for the next match, and now you need to recover and work a lot.
Next match against Arsenal. How much momentum can you take from this win tonight into that game at the weekend?
I think the same mentality and personality. Yeah, just this.
Well, for you, I know you're tired. I know you probably want to go home as well. But you are player of the match tonight against Newcastle, so congratulations. If you want to take that off me, thank you.
Thank you. This is for my team. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Lopetegui, and I'm delighted to say the captain, Jared Bowen, speaks to us not for the first time this evening. Thanks for coming back to talk to us, Jared. Well, you told us before the game of the intent. You said you had to match the standards of last season. Do you feel you did that tonight?
Yeah, definitely. I said we needed a performance before the game. I said we need to go out and show it, and I think we've done that. I mean, Newcastle, I think they always score at home. So to keep them to a clean sheet, score 2 goals away from home, like I said before the game, a difficult place to come, an atmosphere that you have to control. And like I said before the game, we had to be brave with the ball, and we had to go direct at times. And there was also times where we could control the game, control the fans as well. And I think we've done that perfectly.
Do you think scoring that first goal and the timing of it as well just gave you and the team that belief?
Yeah, no, you're always playing to win the games. And we know the quality that we have, and we know from set pieces as well. Thomas put the ball into the box and he'll head anything. And it was a beautiful ball and a beautiful header. And like I said, the timing was great. And then it was down to us to get the second goal. I think if you sit on a lead too much here, as we've experienced last season, it can come back and haunt you. But we stuck at it and then got our second goal, and then in the end was comfortable.
Oh, Jared, the lights have gone out. It looks like the St James's Park.
That's what happens when you win at Newcastle. They turn the lights off.
Jared, you talk about atmosphere and being at St James's Park and really making Newcastle look very average tonight, the way you played. But going back to home now at the weekend with Arsenal, it's obviously a completely different type of game now. And going into that with the confidence you must feel now, of course, you need to recover, but actually having a performance from home next is the next job for you guys.
Yeah, and I think that was more like the level, what it takes to play for this club. Desire, work rate from everyone. And then the quality shows we have top quality players, but the desire, the work rate, like I said, a clean sheet away from home at Newcastle is, not an easy thing. So we've done that, but it's important now we rest up. We have a massive game on Saturday against Arsenal. And like I think I spoke and said before about, we need to be consistently winning games on the bounce. And this has started tonight. And now we go. Arsenal's going to be a difficult game. We know that they're a top side, pushing for Premier League titles. But we can take a lot from the game here tonight. A lot of what we've done, and we're at home. We can use that to our advantage with our fans, and put in again another really good performance and go to win the game.
Jared, you know this club probably better than anybody now in the squad. You're the captain, you're a West Ham legend after scoring the winning goal in that European final. You've just mentioned there about what West Ham need and what they need as a club, about sort of heart, desire. Do you think that's been lacking at times this season?
I wouldn't say it's lacking, because I think, like I said before, the group that we've had are so good, such a good group, a real togetherness. But sometimes you can fall off that page, or when you have new players in, sometimes it's, they haven't experienced the club, and that's when it's down to me that's been here a longer time to show what it means to play for this club. And I've always tried to do that. But I think tonight, every single player on that pitch, even the players that came on, really understood the assignment. Really, like I said, it shows what it is to play for this club. And full credit to our fans coming up to Newcastle on the Monday night. Is incredible, and you saw the support at the end. We had that moment with them. We need to keep giving them moments. Like I said before, when we spoke before, we've been disappointed with our standards that we've set this season. But that was more like us. But like I said, now we have to build on this. We can't, fall under in the next game. It's got to be consistently winning games and putting in good performances, and those are the standards that we've got to meet.
You've had great success with the manager beforehand under David Moyes. He brought you in, and you've been a revelation at the club. I mean, what's the minimum sort of West Ham fans and you believe that you should be sort of finishing each season, what you should be achieving?
I think we should be pushing for European football every year. I think we had 3 years at it. In the season where we finished, I think 14th, we came away with a trophy. Last season we narrowly missed out. But those are the standards, those are the demands of this club. And the Premier League now is probably as open as it's ever been to qualify for European spots. Teams have improved and there's a lot of great teams in here. But those are our standards, and those are the what we feel like we can get to. Like I said, we have a really good side, a really good manager, a hard-working team that want to achieve things. But like I said, we haven't been to those levels, but it's not for the want of trying. I can tell you now, everyone in that changing room wants to win, wants to achieve things, and that's driven by the manager. So for the question, I think it's to qualify for Europe every year. I think that's the benchmark.
You've mentioned the manager a couple of times there, Jared. We saw that great shot at the end of him with his arm round you as well. You'll be aware of the talk that's been going round about him having a couple of games to save his job. Was this performance as much for him as anything else?
I think it's for everyone associated with the club. We've all been disappointed with our start. And, before this game, we were 3 points off, the relegation zone, and that's not a level that we want to be at. So, like I said to you before as well, when we step on that pitch, it's down to us players as well. We have to take the responsibility. We're the ones that go out there and do the work. And we haven't done that to a high enough level yet this season, I don't think. But tonight, for everyone involved, like I mentioned, the fans travelling up, the manager, massive, when you saw him celebrating with everyone on the pitch. It was a real big moment, and I feel like this is a really big turning point in our season. Going into Arsenal on Saturday, and then, like I said before, it's December, so there's lots of games coming up every 3 days, which is great to be involved in, and lots of opportunities to pick up points and really shoot ourselves up the table.
Sorry, Joe, just on the manager, can I just ask what it is like to work with this man who's worked at some big clubs and had some big jobs? You said he's a really good manager. Just tell us then the impact that he's had on the group and what you think he can do.
I think the main thing that he wants is a hard-working, physical team with lots of running, and I think tonight really showed that. And he's come in with different ideas, and you see some of the ways that we control him with the ball and playing out from the back, but then also mixing it up as well. He's not naive to think it's just one way, and that's it. And again, that's down to us to adapt to that. And if we're getting pressed, it's to turn it, because we've got Antonio out there who will bully any centre-half on his day. So he's come in with lots of really fresh, good ideas, especially for us attacking players as well. And we probably haven't done it as best as we can yet, but I think we're getting there, and tonight will be a massive step towards that.
Well, Jared, a lot of people writ you off tonight, but certainly in the studio tonight, we were right behind you and had a huge belief that West Ham would get.
I hope so.
No doubt whatsoever. Jared, congratulations,
Well done, Jared.
and we look forward to seeing you in action next
Thank
weekend.
you.
Again.
Well done, Jared.
Thank you, Jared. You've been really generous with your time. Next Saturday, West Ham United taking on Arsenal. And as you were saying, Theo, it feels like almost this game takes on a bit of a different complexion now, doesn't it?
It really does, and it's so insightful, Jared, there, because that's the standards that they set from the start of the season. That's why they're so disappointed. Actually sitting okay in the league, because, like you said before, it's so compact now, and everyone's beating each other, and there's results that not even we can predict now. And so surprising, but yeah, it's a completely outlet now on the weekend.
It's interesting, when we showed the league table before, what it's done is probably a little bit more, or certainly makes the game of the weekend a little bit tougher for Arsenal. they'll have a little bit more confidence. West Ham, the supporters go into that ground thinking, OK, maybe we can get something. We've gone away to Newcastle. Can we maybe get a point off Arsenal? Can we beat them? But also, when you look at the bottom of the table, they've just created that 4-point gap between themselves and Everton. It almost looks like there's almost like a bottom 6 there. Listen, that can change very quickly, but we don't expect West Ham to be there, or Manchester United are around there. So it might almost, create that sort of 6 teams there in that bottom, and 3 out of the 6 might go.
Set piece is key for West Ham United. We've seen that down the years. We've seen that since Thomas Soucek came to the club, really. This is the 11th time he's scored from a corner. Only Arsenal's Gabriel has scored more from a corner since he arrived at the club.
We're talking about Jared Bowen being a brilliant sign-out. And listen, David Moyes brought him in. We remember Soufal as well, when those two came in a few years ago. And he made a huge impact to West Ham. But, it doesn't matter what style of football your manager plays. Set pieces are vitally important, massively important. And, here as well, you mentioned this at half-time, Theo, actually using Kilman and the other centre-back coming at almost block.
Todibo is the barrier.
Todibo coming up and just use that barrier. But the actual movement from Soucek here, look, he's trying to get away from Lloyd Kelly. He goes one way, he goes another, and he just keeps his eye on the ball just for half a second too long, Lloyd Kelly, and he just loses him.
Mm. And as well, what's really interesting as well, where Kilman takes Shah, probably the best heading player in that Newcastle team. He takes him, he even drags him along. They're both pulling each other. You can just see here. Watch Kilman cleverly take Shah out of the equation straight away. Wiped out one of the best headers of the ball at Newcastle, taken out of the equation, created that space, which is just that second movement.
Come with me, get into that crowded 6-yard box as we're doing an outswinger. Yeah.
Brilliant, really good.
He was talking about the fact that at 1-0, why not go and score another goal rather than try and hang on to your lead, which is exactly what they did.
They did, and listen, we've got Wan-Bissaka here on the throw-in, and it goes back to the goalkeeper to go long, but it's really interesting the run Wan-Bissaka makes. You very rarely see a full-back make this type of run that he does. Now, listen, it goes long. They do really well. Paqueta does well on the second ball. I just want to keep an eye on as the ball comes to Jared Bowen now. So we've got Wan-Bissaka here. More often than not, most fullbacks go on the outside, especially if this guy like Jared Bowen is left-footed, because naturally he's going to come inside and open that space for the guy on the outside. But it's round about now, I would maybe even a little bit further back. Wan-Bissaka, I think, makes a decision now that he's going to go in there. He's seen that space, because you just see the way he starts arcing his run inside, and he's not going to go outside, and he's off. He goes away from Joe Linton, but it's just a really interesting run that you don't see fullbacks make. Sometimes you might see them make a run if they're in this position, maybe looking for a 1-2 from Jared Bowen. They think, OK, it's not on. I've seen the space, I'll go. But Wan-Bissaka makes this run from so deep. Listen, it might be a little bit of luck, he's just gone in there, but listen, he's seeing the space. And then another thing that he's always been criticised for, isn't he? We know Wan-Bissaka can go up against any fullback in the Premier League, or any winger, I should say, and cope 1v1. But this was why he didn't end up succeeding at Manchester United, because they felt he wasn't good enough in these areas, Theo. Yes,
and as well, we're asking now fullbacks to, talking about Kyle Walker at the start of the show, where tactically, defensively, he's not clued on, but Wan-Bissaka doesn't have to worry about that. This is the other side he needs to improve on, and this is the sign of it. Hopefully it can be. He can be a bit more comfortable on the ball, a bit more confident. But yeah, this is the positions where you don't really see him too often. I mean, you have made the run on the outside, maybe if you're playing fullback, maybe. But it's one of those at times, he just recognised that space. You couldn't. I didn't underlap or overlap. But no, it's really good to see, because we need now fullbacks to be able to do everything, not just one thing they're good at.
Newcastle threw everything at it in that second half. They threw on subs, including Callum Wilson, and there was the big claim for a penalty. I'm not sure that you two were that convinced by this, but VAR had a look at it. It was given no penalty on the field. They had another chance to look, and they decided to stick with referee's call. Have another look.
I think he jumps now. I think the ball's close enough to him. And listen, he's never really going to get the ball, but I think it's hard to give a penalty here and say he's not, his left arm comes across, it's not both arms. Listen.
But does he stop Callum Wilson making a proper leap and attack the ball?
Well, he's very clever.
The ball's going over his head. Listen, people now, they want penalties for everything. That's not a penalty. It's not. People
clever.
Say, he's got his arm around him, but listen, it's a contact sport.
You centre-halves are clever, because you make
Come
these...
on, Theo, you're the attacker.
Yeah, no, I've watched it again a few times now, and watch his left leg come across and just disrupt his standing position there.
What?
Look, for me, it could have been a penalty. It could have been, but it's not clear. It's one of those that probably would have been given outside the area. You defenders seem to get away with a lot these days, that's for sure.
I mean,
I'm trying to be the strikers union here.
Career at half-10, and we're going to do goals. I'm sure we'll find a few dives.
offsides, yeah.
Julian, that looked like a team full of confidence, a team that West Ham fans have been waiting to see all season, and a team that's full of togetherness and willingness for you as well.
Yes, we are happy because, above all, because we achieved the 3 points, which is the more important thing. But because I think that we play well. We play with one identity. We were able to overcome a very good team, as is Newcastle in his stadium. It's a very tough match always. And the first half, in all the matches, there are mini matches. Today we start well. Fortunately, we scored 1 goal in set pieces. Always is good to calm and to have more confidence. They have through 2 chances to draw. Fortunately, they didn't do. And after in the second half, I think that we did well, and we deserve to win, in my humble opinion. But okay, it's done. We are happy above all for the players, for the team, but above all for the fans, because there are a lot of fans that they came more than 3,000 here, and they have to come back today now, driving a lot of miles. So we are very happy for them. We work for them. So, but we have to look forward for the next challenge. Today is done. We are happy, but we have a lot of work to do.
What more work then do you have to do based on that performance tonight?
No, I think that we have to keep the feeling of the team. I think that we have to build up as a team if we want to be a better team. This is the thing that we want to build and to work and to do with the ball and with the ball. Don't think a lot about the score. I think about the play. Is the thing that we try to put. It's true that we have a lot of matches that we didn't do. It's true, but I think that. I am not happy, but I believe that in the future this team is going to be able to do good things and to show other kind of style as a team. I think that after his style is different, but always we try that the players believe in the thing that they are able to do, and putting the focus to improve every day and to be able to compete in one Premier League when each match is one incredible challenge. So this is the Premier League.
Do you feel this team that you have can challenge for Europe?
No, I don't talk about this kind of. We talk only about the next day that we have to do today. We are happy, but tomorrow we are working hard, looking forward the next challenge and going to step to step. Is not to think about the long future doesn't help never, no one.
I know, but players do have ambition, and your captain, Jared Bowen, has told us tonight as well, after this win, that West Ham should be a team challenging for Europe regularly.
I think that West Ham should be a team, a good team. This is the more important thing. If we are a team, we are going to be able to do good things. But our big challenge is to be able to be a good team, a strong team.
Talking about being a good team then and a strong team, there is one statistic from tonight's game that you are the second team in the Premier League to run furthest so far this season.
Okay, it's a good way.
You're not first, you're second.
I am tired too. It's like this, you have to run. You want to compete in the Premier League, you have to run a lot, you have to play a lot, you have to do a lot of good things, always, not us, all the teams.
But is that what you've demanded of your players?
Always we demand to run and to play. There are 2 things, to play, to press, to defend, to attack. For that, you need to have a high rhythm. Above all, against this kind of thing that they demand a lot. So, okay, I didn't know this statistic, but it's good. Okay.
Obviously, you want to be first. You won't be in the technical area against Arsenal because of the yellow card you picked up tonight. How much of a setback is that for you?
I didn't know. They say me. Was okay. I don't know why. It's one. I am not happy for this. I am not happy for this because I have to accept. Okay.
Good news and bad news, but thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Juliet breaking news.
He's still thinking about the bad news.
He didn't know that, did he? He's not going to be on the touchline for the game against Arsenal. But only Spurs have run further than his team this weekend. The average, just to clarify on that, the average of West Ham's running this season, 107 kilometres per game. Their previous highest was 113. That have got up to 118, 119 tonight. That is a huge difference. Does that tell us just how much this team is working for this manager?
Not yet. It's one game. Why have they not been running that far in the previous games? Now,
Well, because all the players would have known that all the talk was 2 games to save this job.
I don't think people have put more in because there's talk about the manager losing his job. You know, if they're enthralled with the manager, you know, they think he's such a great coach and such a great man. They've been doing that from day one. Now, we've got yet to be seen, is this a one-off in terms of West Ham this season? Because we done analysis before the game, and I said before this game kicked off, it probably couldn't have gone any much worse since the start, since the manager came in. And not just because where they find themselves in the table, it's how they've lost games. And whenever they've gone one behind or they found it tough in a game, they've just rolled over. You know, I saw that at Anfield. They actually took the lead at Anfield. I saw it in the Tottenham game. It's happened too often this season. Now, this is a great result. It really is. Now, the next game's a tough game. You know, they could lose that game. You'd probably expect them to lose that game who they're coming up against in terms of Arsenal. But this has got to be the blueprint for them in terms of going forward, in terms of the running stats, in terms of clean sheets. Now, even including David Moyes' time at the end of last season and the start of this season, looking at the calendar year 2024, no one has conceded more goals than West Ham. So to get 2 clean sheets on the bounce, these are sort of small steps going forward. Because let's not forget, this is a West Ham team and the supporters who, for the last 4 or 5 years, have been where Jared Bowen said they should be in terms of challenging for you. So they expect that. They just wanted a slightly different style with it. Jared Bowen's sort of telling us that, you know, it's slightly different, you know, still early days under the manager. But in terms of the criticism he gave them beforehand, I wouldn't get too carried away with running stats in one game if they've been so low in the others.
It's a big pitch, isn't it? That one?
You might recognise
slope as well.
You might recognise this question. Could you put a positive spin on these fixtures?
Look, it's a period of time where you get...
You can now, surely.
You get a lot of interesting results in December. Arsenal, obviously, off that confidence they're going to have now going to that, but Leicester, of course, with the uncertainty of the new manager or if they're going to have one at that moment in time. Wolves have now currently picked up a lot of form. It's some tricky fixtures for them, but look, if they want to be in Europe, like Jared Bowen's saying, these are fixtures that are going to have to get results, particularly after the Arsenal game. That's where it really matters.
Sorry, Theo. No. I think the Arsenal's important not to lose. Because it's almost nice then to build this sort of unbeaten run. And then you're going into games, not that you're guaranteed to win, but games that, you think you can win, you might draw one of them. If you could get to a stage where you're 5 or 6 games unbeaten, then that confidence starts to go, that belief in the manager and what you're doing.
Kudus will be back for that Leicester game as well, and he could be very important to them through that period of fixtures in the run-up to Christmas. Well, I'm not sure Newcastle fans would have seen this coming given the form they were in. Let's get Eddie Howe's reaction now with Juliet.
Eddie, you spoke before the match and you said you were expecting a difficult night against West Ham, but did that take you by surprise?
I don't think anything takes me by surprise in the Premier League. I think we know every team's got qualities. I felt the goals changed the game today. I think the first goal, especially so early, made it difficult for us, but I thought we responded really well. I thought we were the dominant team going in at half-time. The game could have been very different if we'd taken one of those chances in that first half. Then they score again in the second half. I don't think we responded well to that goal. I think then we lost a bit of confidence and became a bit ragged at the end.
You started each half, though, so brightly and had so much possession and so much control, but it just seemed to ebb away from you.
Yeah, it did, and I think we were I'm pretty pleased with the first 60 minutes, albeit we're losing the game 2-0. I think there was a lot of good play from us. We did open them up and had chances to score. Unfortunately, goals will always change the perception of everybody, but up until that point, I was pretty pleased. The last half an hour didn't like us at all. I thought we lost our way a little bit, became a bit too desperate to score, and made some bad decisions with the ball. But certainly a game that we'll rue, I think, when we watch it back.
What about those goals then that you conceded? The corner, Souček having that opportunity, and you don't really leave him on mark, do you? And then the second goal that West Ham scored, it just seemed to time stood still.
Yeah, I mean, I think for both goals, we'll look back and know we made individual mistakes. We can't give a player Souček's aerial ability, that space in the box. Disappointing from our perspective, having started the game so well and put them under intense pressure at the start of the match. And then the second goal, as you say, too easy. We let them come inside with the pass, and very uncharacteristic from us, really, because we've defended well in recent weeks.
When you say that you lost confidence in the second half, you're not a team that loses confidence a lot, are you?
Well, I think it was linked to, we got a couple of injuries, and then the team at the end, we had players playing out of position, so I didn't like the look of us in the final stages of the match. And as I say, I think it was just out of desperation to score. We made some bad decisions with the ball, and then ultimately ended up losing control of the game. But as I say, up until that 60-minute mark, I was pretty pleased. I thought that we looked the dominant team, and on another day we could have won.
You have no complaints at all with the decisions that were made as well with the VAR, the two decisions that kind of went against you?
Well, are you talking about the penalty?
The penalty and the goal was ruled out in the first half.
For Callum's penalty, I thought was a tight call, but I'd need to see it again. That's only an instant sort of reaction from me. The offside goal I actually thought looked really tight. I was expecting it to take longer and hopefully drop in our favour, but it didn't, so we have to accept it. You
mentioned the word injuries as well, just to talk about Joe Willock and Guimaraes as well coming off. Was there any concern about those two players at all?
Well, there's slight concern at this moment in time. We don't know the details of their injuries, so we'll wait and see. Hopefully nothing too serious.
Thanks for your time, Eddie.
Thank you.
The other one, 3 on the bounce in all competitions going into this tonight. Does it feel like a real punch in the nose for Newcastle?
It does when a manager says he doesn't like a performance. Everyone now, of course, behind the scenes will be a lot different. So now you watch training this week, it's going to be very bouncy because everyone's going to want to play in that next game, that's for sure.
Yeah, it's a bad one that tonight for Newcastle because the season's been a little bit stop-start. They feel like they've got themselves going. And on paper, they're looking at West Ham. They've had a really tough start. They've been really poor away from home. They're thinking, we get 3 points here, but 2 points behind Man City. We're right in the mix of it, not just for European places, for Champions League positions. Now, they'll get themselves back up there at some stage, but it just feels like, oh, what is it, 1 step forward, 2 step back. That's the way he'll feel tonight. It's one of those games that you think... And really, when you still look at the game, he was right. The first 60 minutes, there was a lot to like. And when you still look at the expected goals, they had a lot of chances. And more often than not, in a game like that, they probably take the lead and normally they go on and win the game.
Great.
Thanks for his team, and they all seem to be pretty behind the manager in these new ideas.
Yeah, you know, he said it worked on the pitch. I was just wondering when they would have had time to do that because most of their players are away on international duty. But I think the manager has stressed what he wants, and he's tried to work with what the players that were left behind. But he spoke about more effort, more determination, and that's what they had tonight. You know, like I said, early part of the game, probably let a few chances go down the left-hand side. But as soon as they got the goal, I thought they defended really well. Didn't really give Newcastle any chances in the second half. Everything that Newcastle created, it was a fight to get there. And so I thought the game plan worked. They worked hard, and as he said, he's tired. He's travelled, but he's back and he's tired because they played a role and they gave it their all tonight.
Yeah, and they just seem to be a little more organised. Those ideas, the new ones, just seem to be a little bit more understood tonight.
Yeah, I mean, and they've had a couple more days, haven't they, than a lot of teams playing. Playing on the Monday night, some people complain about it, but sometimes if you come back from international duty, it just gives you an extra couple of days just to find your feet again, maybe, you know, a bit of jet lag. Certainly for people that are travelling back from South America, that can be a problem. So it might have been a benefit playing on a Monday after an international break. They certainly looked like that today. They certainly looked like a team that knew what they were doing. To be honest, I've never watched West Ham and thought, oh, wow, they just haven't got a clue. I mean, yes, they're not picking up the results that they should be, or that the team warrants, but they're not playing horrifically well, you know, horrifically badly and getting beaten 5-0 every week. So I think it is a little bit of tweaking, a little bit of just getting to get a win. So this could be a catalyst for their season, because as I say, looking at their players, no one can tell me that they shouldn't be a top half team with the quality that they've got.
And when you've got that group of players and a new manager and you get a result of this magnitude, what does that do to belief within the group to think, we can put that plan in place and go to somewhere like Newcastle and win?
I think that going to Newcastle and winning, when you look at the results Newcastle have had at home, and they don't lose many games, only one other team has beaten them in the last 14, so going there, tough. We all said it was going to be tough because of the atmosphere as well, and they've gone in, they put in a good shift, and that just gives you a bit of a boost. I think they play Arsenal at the weekend, another London derby. They'll be coming back fit, feeling buoyed by what they did to winning games and keeping a clean sheet.
I was just about to say, I think the keeping a clean sheet is so important for them tonight. Yeah. I mean, they know they can score. They've got players that can score. Jared Bowen's, has been brilliant for the last few years. They've got attacking players that can score. They can score off set pieces. It's unbelievable how that's their first corner, goal from a corner today, because Souček's one of the most dangerous players from set pieces. the goal scoring shouldn't be their problem. Keeping a clean sheet up at Newcastle with someone like Isak playing, playing up top, and with other players like Gordon and players like that playing, that's a good achievement. That's really good. And now that they can take that forward and as I say, take it into the next games.
And as you say, first time they scored from a corner, but you were both in agreement for the first goal that Newcastle should have done better for this.
Yeah, it feels it's an out-swinging corner, and Souček, you see him here, doesn't really he takes one step inside and loses, I think it's Kelly that's marking him, just loses him, look, just one step inside and just goes round the back, comes back in front, and it's an easy header, no pressure. Now, Kelly's got to do much better, he's got to get touch tight, don't allow him to have that free header because he's the best header of the ball in the team.
Yeah, I mean, I get this zonal marking. We see it with most teams now. It's not new anymore. I just wonder, though, when you're putting your best headers of the ball across that 6-yard box, they're all the big men across the 6-yard box, right on the line. And then you have your smaller players that just block the big ones, basically. Don't let them get a head of steam. So, on an out-swinging corner, I just can't believe that you're basically negating all your best headers of the ball, because the ball is never going to land in the 6-yard box on an out-swinging corner. That's as close as it can be to the goal where it landed there, about 10 yards out. So I just think that you've either got to switch them around or you've got to stagger them. So go from the start of the 6-yard box and stagger it diagonally out of the box slightly, or something. But you've got to get your big players heading the ball or challenging for the ball, because nobody was challenging Souček. He had a free run, the blockers didn't really do their job, and he had a free header. Nobody on the post either. So, it will be disappointing. And that's Newcastle's first goal they conceded from a corner. So, but I'm sure they'll still have a bit of an inquest.
When you play against zonal marking, that is the perfect ball into the box, because everyone, all the best headers of the ball are going to be on that 6-yard. That gives you the opportunity in that gap between the 6-yard box and the penalty spot. That's exactly where he plays it.
Yeah, because there's 4 against 3 anyway. Exactly. There's only 3 blockers. So they're only there. They're only there, obviously, to slow the run down. There's 1 or 2 grabbing there. You've got to be a bit careful. But it's 3 against 4 anyway. So you're always going to have 1 free man. And you can't let their best header of the ball, from 8 yards out.
That's the part Eddie Howe will be fuming about, the fact that the best header of the ball has got a free run and a free header at goal.
Yeah. Newcastle without suspended Dan Burn, 6'7", of course.
That helps, doesn't it? Yeah, 6'7" in the middle of the box. That helps.
That just seemed to disrupt Newcastle after that early positive start that you alluded to.
Yeah, just, they never really found their feet again, although they had a few attacks. They only had 2 shots. They had 10 opportunities and 2 on target. So it just goes to show how well West Ham defended, and they just lost their flow, lost their momentum, and West Ham came into the game from there.
Yeah. They had a little flurry at the start of the second half, and then 8 minutes into it, they were 2 down through Aaron Wan-Bissaka. They originally had the ball, though.
They did, and Les spotted something here in the game as well. We'll take it back shortly. But, I mean, it was good play from Paquetá. He won the second ball. Lovely first touch, and I thought, no, you can't shoot from there. You're never going to score. There was literally one area he could shoot. But you spotted this in the build-up, Les.
Yeah, it was just I saw Joe Linton. He's with Souček there, and he keeps bugging Souček. So Souček runs him inside. West Ham keep the ball, and then now watch Souček. He runs off Joe Linton, wins this first header, and this is where the goal comes from. And look at Joe Linton.
His man's now Wan-Bissaka,
He's
isn't he? He lets him run as well.
He looks at him, lets him run, and he's the one that scores the goal. Now, if you're... One thing you have to do is match... whoever you play against, you've got to match their enthusiasm and their abilities to run. Don't matter how good you are. You match them, and then what you're hoping is your quality comes out on top. That just shows a little bit of lack of respect for West Ham, him doing that. It's almost like, well, they're not going to score. They say he lets him run, and unfortunately they've lost the game 2-0 because of his actions.
It's bad enough letting one runner, isn't it? And then you think, ooh, I let that could have bit me in the backside, and then all of a sudden the next person comes alongside you and let him run as well. It's not a good look, really, especially for a player that has done so well in recent times. His hard work, his quality, everything about him has been very good. But that was a lack of team ethic, I think, or teamwork, or think he's let his team down there twice. Letting a runner go is not ideal. And if I was the manager, I'd be pulling them aside and saying, listen, you've got to match your runs. You know, the first one is unforgivable in the first place. To do it again seconds later, you can't do that. That's cost us the second goal and cost us the match ultimately.
And Wan-Bissaka's only ever scored 3 Premier League goals, 2 of them at St James's Park. And that was a collector's item.
Yes, you know, he obviously likes going there, and as you said, once he got into the box, Michael said, he can't score from there, but, you know, he took the chance, goes across the goalkeeper and wins his team the game.
Penalty shout for Callum Wilson, who came off the bench. What do we think here, centre-forward union?
Yes, definitely penalty shout. I thought it was a penalty, Steve.
So it should have been given on field, but then what? Do you think it's a clear and obvious?
Oh, that's then the debate, isn't it? And then I suppose if it is a debate, then no, I'm not screaming and shouting at VAR.
Wow.
I think that's a penalty.
Wow.
I think he's grabbed him enough to prevent him from jumping and potentially heading the ball.
I think if he doesn't grab him, Wilson heads that ball in the back of the net.
Yeah.
You know, he's all over him, and I can understand a little bit of contact, but his arm's wrapped around him.
Well, in that case, if you think that, and there's no doubt it should have gone to VAR then, and, well, it did go to VAR.
Yeah.
VAR checked it, and they thought not. But if you think he would have scored it, it should have gone to VAR. I thought it was a penalty as well. I just wasn't 100% sure that he would have got onto it and headed it in. But if that's the case, and if Les, you know, thinks that, then I think they probably should have.
Because that might have just given them a little bit ray of hope
Exactly.
at that point, mightn't it?
Yeah.
From the penalty spot.
Certainly would have done, and you look at that and you think, I think if he's allowed to jump, he gets up high. It doesn't look that he gets up because he's wrapped around him, and he doesn't get the opportunity to jump, and he only doesn't get the opportunity because his arms are wrapped around him and he's all over him. So that's why I would say that was, being in that position myself, I think 100%.
And really, I know we say, oh, you can't be in any doubt for the referee or for VAR to then reverse it and say penalty, but really, if he's not been given the opportunity, surely then you have to go side with the attacking player there. You can't just prevent someone from jumping and then say, oh, we're not sure whether he would have got it or not. Well, hang on a minute. You know, you've got to then favour the attacker because he's the one that's been fouled. And if we're not sure that he would have got it or not, then I would side with the attacker because he's been prevented from us finding out for good. So, yeah, I thought that was a penalty.
But either or, I mean, Newcastle looking for little straws of comfort there. West Ham deserved to win this game. They were the better team.
Yeah, over the 90 minutes, but you would have to say that, you know, Newcastle didn't do enough to win the game. And, you know, Isak had a shot at the end, a left-footed shot, which, you know, Michael Bridges said summed up the game for me. Never really made no contact, wasn't pure. And that's how Newcastle were today. They were stuttering, you were on the edge of your seat going, come on. Never quite got there.
So it ends up being a big lift and a big win for the West Ham manager, Julian Lopetegui.
Julien, congratulations. How big a win is that?
Thank you. Yes, we are happy. It's always a big win to win away or to win at home in Premier League. But against one team has Newcastle, a very tough stadium, tough match, a very good player, good manager. And okay, we are happy because we need to have one kind of match as today. But we are happy. But okay, 3 points more, and we have to look forward.
How important was your start to get Thomas Souček's header very early on, seemed to settle the team?
In all the matches, it's important. All the moments, there are key moments. Was important to start. This one stadium when they push a lot in the first minutes, and I think that we have been with personality in our start. And fortunately, we score one goal. Always is good. We suffer. They have chances to draw in the first half, 2 or 3. But I think that we keep personality, and the second half, I think that we deserve to win. Sometimes you win, you don't deserve. I think today, to be honest, I think that we deserve these 3 points. We are happy for the players. I am happy for the fans, more than 3,000 here, very so far of London. So we are happy above all for them. We can't the possibility to give them a lot of good days. Unfortunately, we are going to work hard. Because they have more days as today, because they deserve. We work for them, and we are happy. And above all for the players, because I think that, okay, we need to find one identity as a team, and you are trying to find this as is important. But we have to look forward and to prepare the next match very well and to work hard.
You talk about looking forward. How important is it? obvious thing to say, but to build on this now, you, the players, the club, to put what has been a difficult spell behind you?
Always is important, the time, and always is important to try to give one different identity. It's no better or worse, it's different, and trying to put always the team behind the players, always the team. Working for the team, trying to give the best of each player to the team. Okay, today we did. Unfortunately, we won, so we are happy for them. But I repeat, there are 3 points. We have to keep going and to look forward for the next challenge. They are going to be very tough too. Each match in Premier League is one adventure, and we have to be ready.
And football is a game of emotion. You've had lots of questions thrown your way about your future. Did this win mean a little bit more to you because of all the questions that came your way?
All the coaches, we have this kind of life. We have to get used to work with this kind of situation, but always believing in our work, in us, and in the players. The more important thing, we believe in the players. We know they are not going to be easy for no one team in the Premier League. I think that we have a lot of points to win until the last decision. Has a lot of teams, but above all, for me, the more important thing is to be able to be one team and to achieve one kind of identity to overcome and to increase as a team.
Appreciate your time.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yeah, huge win. Arsenal at the weekend at the London Stadium. And then, Michael, may they feel they've got a run of fixtures where they can get some of this consistency they're searching for?
Yeah, they will. It's funny, though, isn't it? We say, oh, they need to be consistent, and then all of a sudden you look at the next 6 and it's Arsenal next. I mean, how can you be consistent in this Premier League? It's so difficult. You're playing against great teams virtually every week. But yes, you're right. Get that Arsenal game out the way. If they can pick something up from that, then great. And then it's a little bit calmer waters after that.
All smiles for Julian Lopetegui. Not a good night for Newcastle and their manager, Eddie Howe.
Eddie, you spoke before the match and you said you were expecting a difficult night against West Ham. But did that take you by surprise?
I don't think anything takes me by surprise in the Premier League. I think we know every team's got qualities. Yeah, I felt the goals changed the game today. I think the first goal, especially so early, made it difficult for us, but I thought we responded really well. I thought we were the dominant team going in at half-time. The game could have been very different if we'd taken one of those chances in that first half. Then they score again in the second half. I don't think we responded well to that goal. I think then we lost a bit of confidence and became a bit ragged at the end.
You started each half, though, so brightly and had so much possession and so much control, but it just seemed to ebb away from you.
Yeah, it did, and I think I'm pretty pleased with the first 60 minutes, albeit we're losing the game 2-0. I think there was a lot of good play from us. We did open them up and had chances to score. Unfortunately, goals will always change the perception of everybody, but up until that point I was pretty pleased. The last half an hour didn't like us at all. I thought we lost our way a little bit, became a bit too desperate to score and made some bad decisions with the ball, but certainly a game that we'll rue, I think, when we watch it back.
What about those goals then that you conceded? The corner, Souček having that opportunity, and you don't really leave him on mark, do you? And then the second goal that West Ham scored, it just seemed to time stood still.
Yeah, I mean, I think for both goals we'll look back and know we made individual mistakes. We can't give a player Souček's aerial ability that space in the box. Disappointing from our perspective, having started the game so well and put them under intense pressure at the start of the match. And then the second goal, as you say, too easy. We let them come inside with the pass, and very uncharacteristic from us, really, because we've defended well in recent weeks.
When you say that you lost confidence in the second half, you're not a team that loses confidence a lot, are you?
Well, I think it was linked to, we got a couple of injuries, and then the team at the end, we had players playing out of position, so I didn't like the look of us in the final stages of the match. And as I say, I think it was just out of desperation to score. We made some bad decisions with the ball, and then ultimately then ended up losing control of the game. But as I say, up until that 60-minute mark, I was pretty pleased. I thought that we looked the dominant team, and another day we could have won.
You have no complaints at all with the decisions that were made as well, with the VAR, the two decisions that kind of went against you?
Well, are you talking about the penalty?
The penalty and the goal was ruled out in the first half.
For Callum's penalty, I thought was a tight call, but I'd need to see it again. It's only an instant sort of reaction from me. The offside goal I actually thought looked really tight. I was expecting it to take longer and hopefully drop in our favour, but it didn't, so we have to accept it.
And how do they rediscover the momentum they had before the international break? They've got Palace away next.
Yeah, and that's getting back on the horse. Today's performance weren't good enough. Like he said, first when he said after the first goal they reacted well, I had to think, did they react well? And I suppose they did, because they had a few chances. You know, Anthony Gordon we spoke about the one where he should have chipped over the goalkeeper, Isaac with a chest. So they did keep the momentum going, just weren't able to get that goal. Second half, I didn't think they were that good. I didn't really think you know, 60 minutes, I'd have probably given them a little bit less than that in terms of, I thought West Ham looked really comfortable and at times played their way out, played some nice football. Newcastle lost their way. But they just need to get back on. They know they're a good side, and you know they'll be disappointed that they're not sitting in 6th place tonight, because they would have looked at that game and thought, yeah, jump there and then see where we could go from there. So
missed opportunity.
Yeah, it is. But ups and downs of the Premier League. It's a long season. It's exactly what happens. They'll be back, and they're still a good team.